But anyway, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
And go. So, we are here, friends, back for another one. Foundation Season 2 has arrived. Cuz, how you feeling? How was your weekend?
My weekend was relaxing. No, not relaxing. I was busy. I traveled back from my vacation. And Sunday was a marathon of let's get this laundry done. Let's get y'all ready for school tomorrow. And let's get some rest. But got it all in. Got it all in. No complaints. Everybody had a good time.
Good stuff. Good stuff. That is awesome. Oh, man. All right. So, when I sent out these notifications, the title I used on Twitter was, what is it? Space Thranduil and the Empire of Shenanigans. And I feel like that's fitting. Because if you thought Brother Dave was on Shenanigans last season, he just goes ahead and starts this season off with the bang like that.
This
like last season was just a walk in the park. This new
day is a different one. He different.
Yeah, that's putting it lightly. He different.
He different.
Oh,
okay?
Man.
He came in with a bang. And I mean a bang.
Literally. Quite literally. So
okay.
let's go ahead with the jump off right there. That's exactly where we start.
I was not ready. Actually, we start with Digi Harry.
Oh yeah. That's right. There's
a
little bit of a crisis.
Digi Harry is having a crazy episode with himself inside of God knows what. At this point, we don't know. We just see him talking to himself, and he's saying a lot of things. And a lot of things that he's saying, I'm listening to closely. I actually went back and replayed it. And he's saying he was supposed to be the one. He was supposed to be the one. Why did you put her in? Why did you put her in the pod?
Yeah, it's like things are catching up.
Correct. Why did you put her in the pod? Idolatry will feed his sickness. I don't know if you heard that part. And I was like, what does that mean? Idolatry will feed his sickness. And then he says, she solved the puzzle. She solved the puzzle. And then he starts rambling that can't account for the actions of individuals. Can't account for the actions of individuals. And then he goes, if you shared your greatest plan, he's yelling at himself now. You shared your greatest plan, then people might be able to help you, Harry.
Maybe we wouldn't have been here, bruh. Communication
we totally ended the season, our discussion last season with that exact sentiment. Like if Harry would just share more of what his grand scheme is, more people would be able to help him. And the fact that Gale, the outlier, the ultimate outlier that he really didn't plan for, with her being a mentalic, he really should have at least shared with her
at the very least.
Yeah,
not just written her off once she entered the equation.
Yep.
And like, bro, you have to evaluate these things, and I feel for someone that's doing the task that he set about doing. You would think they would be able to course correct better than he has.
But that's
because that would just be a waste of keeping Gale there.
That's the curse and blessing of genius, right? The people who are truly smart like that, sometimes they can't see the forest with trees when they're in it, like, and it's that common sense versus degree thinking.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Some of that common sense thinking.
Versus street smarts versus book learnings and all that.
Correct. In their analytical mind. So he basically has to get a grip. And then all of a sudden he starts remembering his childhood, and we get to see a little. Can we just stay with him? I'm going to stay with him for a little bit.
Yeah.
Him to a certain point.
Was that his actual pops, or was it his stepdad?
That was his. I don't know. They don't tell us actually.
Okay.
They don't really tell us, but we get the impression that's his father. So he remembers when he was a child, and he's playing with shapes and shadows and a book, and he takes a piece of paper and he looks at his mom first, who seems to like recognize that he's smart and encourages this. his experimentation, it feels like, and he folds the paper and he puts it to the side and he looks at the shadow and he sees that it flattens, turns it, and then when he turns it, it's in the shape of the vault. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, three-dimensional, one-dimensional, three-dimensional, one-dimensional, and his mom catches what he's doing and she says it, and she goes, very smart boy. And as soon as she compliments him, his father jumps in and was like, smart, I paid for that
I
book.
had to pay for
Ha!
that book. Yeah,
And like
just
slaps this kid into oblivion. I was so sad at that moment.
you know, the one thing that also stood out to me in that moment is his mom, because she completely looked at what he was trying to analyze and got it immediately. So I'm thinking he gets everything that he has from her, but she's kind of capped herself, it seems, I guess, to better fit into their environment, which makes me wonder even more about the ecology, the eco, where they are.
Yeah. But it seems like everybody on these outskirt planets, though, have to have some level of intelligence to be able to survive in these environments, just because it demands it.
Or ingenuity, at least.
Or ingenuity,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if his mother's like a professor or something as well. You never know. But Dad seems to definitely have a chip on his shoulder, and we don't even really get the why behind why he's so upset with the world.
He reminds me of I don't remember the character's name, but the kid in the scenario I'm remembering, his name was Frank, and he's the child version of the older Bill Murray in Scrooged. How when they did flashbacks of when he was a kid and his dad was always on some other nonsense. He's sitting there thinking Santa's gonna come and give him presents, and Dad walks in from work, tosses down like 2 pounds of veal at him and says, "Here, Merry Christmas, Francis." He's like, "But I wanted a choo-choo train, Daddy. I asked Santa for a choo-choo train." And he just starts wailing on the kid because I guess he doesn't appreciate the veal and how expensive it is. But you're not taking the time to appreciate your child and see where they are. It's like it's a burden to him, and that's kind of the same vibe that I'm getting from Harry's dad. It's like he doesn't want to see any smarts or intelligence or anything. Just go with the flow and fit in where you are supposed to fit in his mind.
It definitely got that. I'm a working dad. I'm blue collar. And clearly y'all are different. And what you're not going to do is make me feel bad about myself. So what, you smart.
Exactly.
Don't be messing up this book I brought you because it cost money and I had to work for it. So yeah, that's what I gathered just from that little snippet. But anyway, he comes back to where he is and he comes out of that memory and that clicks something for him. He goes, and he starts looking at his hand and he sees how it's moving in the space and he's like, oh, this is a 4-dimensional space. And I actually looked this up. 4-dimensional space is a cube and or a tesseract. Believe it or not. So he knows what he's inside of. And so he starts to move around in it as his mind is telling him what it is. So he like walks on the ceiling. He's kind of getting around better. And as he does that, he sees a manifestation of what looks like his wife. And as he, hugs her and gives her, goes to his knees and like human connection, some kind of connection. And she starts talking. The way she's talking completely lets him know that it's not her.
He's like, hold on, wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah, he goes, what's her name? You're not.
I don't remember.
Nana. I don't remember her name either.
It's like you're not my.
Yeah, you're not her.
You're not the memory I remember.
Yep, you are not her. And she goes, "No, I'm not." And he goes, "Who are you?" And he's like, "You're just appearing like her." So she tells him he has to free his mind, and since he likes work, he has to work at it. So we leave him for a little bit, and we see him trying to work on it. And when he figures it out, he's like, I'm in the radiant, right? And before
Yeah.
that, when he was first yelling at himself, all of a sudden he's like, something's happening. And then you see him get dragged backwards into darkness.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has no idea where he is now. So apparently he was in a device that Gail had, the device that had his consciousness. She
Mm-hmm.
kept him in that. And then when the darkness happened, she had transferred him to the Radiant.
Into the
So,
Radiant, yeah.
yeah, which is where he started seeing the manifestation.
I
of
thought
his
that was
life.
interesting that she figured out how to even download something into that thing.
Right?
Like, where was the USB plug now?
They're beyond that
What
now.
level of genius are you really on that you
Well, the thing was in
figured
the
out
back
not
of
only
his
how to
head.
open it?
Remember, it was
You
in the back
put-
of his head when Rage took it off him and put it in the knife. So how she
That's
figured out how to
crazy.
get it out the knife and into this, I don't know. But
She
anyway,
is on her brain is on a whole other level.
another level. I don't know. Glad they didn't try to bend our brains trying to figure that out. Oh yeah, his wife's name was Yana.
Yana.
So he says, "You're not Yana," and then she changes into a black woman, and he goes, "The way you're speaking is very distinct. It's like iambic pentameter, but not iambic pentameter, some other pentameter." Yeah. I'm not even gonna try to repeat what he said.
Yeah, I caught that, and I was like, okay, can we just get to the end of what this is?
You are
right
guys
now?
are so nerdy right now. I was totally like, wow, whoever is really into this stuff is gonna have a field day with all of this language. And then he was like, it sounds like Calais, the person who invented the thing that Gail saw.
Yeah.
Right. And she goes, very good. And then after he calls her that, she's like, very good. And then he's like, wait a second. Now that you're not speaking in that cadence, I don't think you're Calais either. You're something new. So this is a new AI entity that tells him that she's trying to get him to gather himself and that it's time for him to get out of here. And she wants him to fix his damaged mind because he's going to be needed. And then she says, you need to get yourself out of here because I can't get you out of here. I can only guide you, type of thing. And so he's like, okay. And then she's like, I want you to help you knit yourself back together. So then she goes, it's time. And you need to get yourself out. And he starts unfolding the radiant to flatten it so that he can get himself out, or at least heard by whoever's out there. So I thought that was an interesting little scene, only because we now start to see some of his past. Hey, Luna.
Yeah.
And you know, kind of where he's been a genius all his life, you know, and the passion he has for this stuff, it makes sense, right? So I thought that was really cool, like little backstory about Harry. So it's interesting to see where this season goes with him.
I have a thought.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I'm wondering, do you think it's maybe possible that he was talking about himself when he says like the idolatry will be his downfall?
I do.
Or do you think it was, or I mean, it could even be both him and or Day in Day's current form as he is right now?
I think more than one thing could be true. I think it was both, to tell you the truth.
It's very fitting.
Yeah, because he has literally turned into an idol. If you look at what's happening, yeah, they've deified this man now. You know. So where we left off with Gail and Salvor last season, Gail had just woken up. I'm sorry, Salvor had just woken up after Gail had pulled her out the water, given her the radiant. So Salvor introduces herself. She's like, my name is Salvor Harding. I am your daughter. And she's like, the case of this little embryo you left in stasis. And she's like, heart. She's like, oh, good dear gods. Poor Gail. She's like, what? She's like, how old are you chronologically? She goes, I think I'm older than you. So Salvor has also been asleep for about 138 years.
138 years, yep. And also, I think, isn't Salvo naturally to an age older than Gail when she went into cryo.
When she went into
Like
cryo,
how
yeah,
old
she
was
was,
she?
I don't know, maybe
I,
late 20s, I want to
is it?
say. Mid to
I
late
was thinking it
20s.
was early. I was thinking early to mid 20s.
If it was early 20s, that'd be gross for her and Hugo. So I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. Because Hugo
Yeah.
was like clearly 35, 40. So I'm
Wait,
hoping she was mid 20s to 30s.
wait, who's Hugo?
Hugo was
Isn't that
Salvo's
isn't that Salvo's? No, did I say Salvo? I'm talking about Gail when Gail first went under.
Oh, Gail must have been like early 20s for sure.
Okay, yeah. Early 20s, maybe even like super late teens, like 1920. I was thinking.
Maybe
Salvo, I think Salvo was about 24, 25. I feel like they said something to that thing. But yeah, either way with Hugo, because their people lived to be so long, he was already way older than her. Yeah.
Yeah. So, she's telling her that she's trying to figure out who carried her, and she's like, Harding, and she figures out it's Mari Harding, and she's like, yep, she carried me, she loved me, she raised me, she taught me, but I think I was always yours, because we have this connection where I can see the past, I can see my father's past clearly. It's the two of you that I keep seeing. I'm drawn to the vault in some strange, odd way, and it's this, we have this connection, and Salvor is so looking to make sure she figures out that she has somebody in the world like her, that she's trying to force this relationship to be this thing that she made up in her mind.
Yeah, she romanticized it a little bit. Yeah.
So Gail is she's like, tell me everything. Tell me how you met my father. Tell me where you're from. Tell me about this world. Tell me about what happened to the sky. And so Gail is like, oh, girl, slow down. You can
right. I understand your position. However, I low key just woke up too.
Right.
So I need to wrap my head around that first and foremost.
Boat, we're in the same boat right now. Literally.
Right. Before I meet my daughter that I didn't know I had, who is technically older than me, because I was not in my mid-20s when I went into cryo.
Yeah.
So that is some timey-wimey tomfoolery and mindfuckery.
Crazy. Like my mind would explode. So we get the narrator telling us that waters rise and territories shrink, and empire has contracted. So you get the sense that some things have changed politically, and empire isn't a force in the universe like they used to be, that there have been some unrest clearly, and the unrest that we saw started when we left season 1 has not subsided. It's gotten worse.
Yeah, it's gotten worse.
And so we're waiting to see what that's like. So we go to Trantor, and we see Day beating out or breaking down or breaking in, however you want to call it. Damsels.
All of the above. Every last one of them fits. Every one of them fits.
I mean, come on. I was like, whoa. And
he's also low-key getting super emotional about it.
Where she's like, yes, empire. And he's like, no, use your real voice. And she goes, huh, okay, empire. He goes, she goes, yeah, Day. And then he's like, call me Cleon. And then he smiles. And she's like, all right, I'm with you. And they're getting into it. And then all of us, she was way calm when it first started happening. And how did she not send someone in the room? Her skills are better than this.
That's what I'm wondering too. But I think there's something up with those assassins though. Like they're able to get past a lot of shit.
They came through the what is it? The servants' quarters. He saw it. He saw the shadow, and he immediately reacted by, of course, putting Damsel in the way.
Of course. I mean, technically, that's what was supposed to happen anyway, though. She is the Kingsguard.
She jumps on one assassin. He gets up. He starts fighting. He can hold his own. I didn't expect all that.
And he's cocky as shit about doing it too.
He is very cocky.
The whole time.
I don't know what it is about these clones, especially him. Him especially. And I think Dusk probably has a little bit of this in him. Dawn not so much. But Day especially. He likes a
The
fight.
vanity.
It's like he's like, yeah, come on, bring it on. You think you can take me type of thing. And
Right,
he
literally.
was overly confident because those assassins were on point too. They gave him
They
a run
really
for his
were.
money. They
They
beat
almost
him
got
up.
him.
They basically almost knocked out Damrzel. She was laying there. Half her head was gone. A knife was inside of her, and they were after him. Two of them were fighting him.
Hmm.
One cut him across his chest, shot him in his, I think, his shoulder.
I think it was his shoulder,
Um,
yeah.
he went down to his knees, started bleeding out, and was still laughing. And then when the guy was about to cut his head off, basically, Damrzel wakes up
The-
and like breaks right through that man's chest, takes his heart
my
out.
biggest beef, my biggest beef with that is, bro, you still had the gun in your hand. Why did you stop shooting?
Well, yeah,
It doesn't make sense.
I know. So anyway, she saves him. She picks him up, half a head and all. She's a G, okay? You want her on your team. Takes him to
Absolutely.
I guess the healing pool is what I'm gonna call it. Throws him in
Mhm.
there, explains to them this is what happened. He needs this. He needs healing right now. She's like, give me that. We got about 12 seconds for his heart stop. That blade was full of poison. How you know that, Damrzel? How you know it? How you know it's full of poison? How you know the blade was full of poison? Right when she said that, I was like,
Maybe
how
the
she
blade,
knew that?
maybe the blade she was stabbed with also had that same poison, and she was able to analyze it.
Okay, we'll go with that. She is a robot. But anyway, then you see like she stabs him with whatever the, I guess, pain medicine, knocks him out, and then they
Yeah.
start healing him. She tells them he's gonna recover. If he asks for me, tell him I needed mending. I'm going to go mend myself, and she limps herself away.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow. So nobody helps you, huh?
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, so, like, you don't have nobody that's
There's no
trained in the
team.
intricacy of your robotics
She
to
is
help
the
you.
best kept secret.
It's not, yeah, and I didn't notice that really until this episode. Wait, is it this one or is it episode 2?
Well,
It
we've
might be
seen her
episode 2
heal
when he's
herself
talking to the
before,
fiance.
but not with as severe injuries as these,
As this,
right?
exactly, where she's
Yeah,
having to
those were
repair
always
like the
surface.
skeletal structure.
Right. I
That's
was like,
nuts.
"Jeez Louise, isn't that where your brain is?" But apparently, no. That's
No,
not
her
where
brain
her
is
central operating
centralized.
system. Yeah. I
Yeah.
was like, that is an interesting build. Interesting.
And he totally, yada yadas over the specific question when it's asked later.
All the time.
Mm-hmm.
All the time. He never answers questions about her. I don't think he's able to tell you the truth. I don't think he's able to.
Wouldn't those memories have been passed on to them?
They should be. I mean,
But then
because one
again,
of them, remember the young one that became the last day, said to her, I used to watch you when I was a child, get ready and repair yourself. And
yeah,
I was always curious. You take such care, you know? So, yeah, he knows. It's not like the memory goes away from childhood to becoming day.
yeah.
So, I don't know. But he won't answer it to anyone else. Those four, they keep it tight.
It's such a weird dynamic. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so strange.
But becoming the lover when you were the mother is a gross concept.
And Dust holds him to task on that. And what does he do? What does the little asshole do? He's talking about, well, I mean, I feel like she was very happy with all of my positions. Matter of fact, she's the one that started it. Yeah. And Dust just had this look on his face like he was totally done with him in that moment.
I know, because then he trusts no one. You hear that he has an impending marriage. We hear as he's getting healed by the nanites, he's like, don't give me any
He doesn't
anesthetic.
want any aesthetic.
I don't
Yeah.
want to be asleep. I don't trust none of y'all. It could have been one of y'all that sent these dark angels to
Mhm.
get me. That's what the assassins were called. Apparently, they are such a tight order that they don't even speak. Their memories are usually erased as soon as they complete the task they're given. So they won't find
Yeah.
anything even trying to get into their minds. So I was like, well, that's interesting. So then Dawn
Crazy.
comes to see him to see if he's okay, and helps him out of the thing, helps him into his room, and they have a little chat. And he calls him, and he's like, you know, I'm gonna have you and Dusk both tested and your memories examined to make sure that you guys had nothing to do with this attack on me. I know neither of you are too keen on me getting married and ending the dynasty and
Yeah.
starting a family of my own. And I feel like an individual soul, he says.
Yeah.
Where did
Yeah.
you get
And
that
he
idea
asks.
from?
That's the thing. You have to wonder that, and that's not an answer that we've gotten
When I watched it the first
just
time, I
yet.
didn't hear that. When I
Mhm.
watched it the second time, I was like, oh, having watched season one, so close to doing this re-review for this discussion,
Yeah.
a lot of things are coming up for me in the way of questions. The person who brought that up was Halima,
Mhm.
about the individuated soul and how you have to evolve. And I wonder if in her attempt to try and save them, if Damrzel did something with regard to programming them. Because remember, we learned that
Hmm.
they were corrupt, right? That their DNA was corrupt and that the original was
Yeah.
corrupt.
They and
So they must have
who
taken steps
corrupted
to
it?
fix that. It was that group that the gardener was in.
Oh no, I remember that, but I'm wondering now if by chance Dermazel had any part in that though,
Oh yeah, that's a
because
that's
that's probably the one of the most guarded areas.
I know.
So how would someone get close enough to do that and then to get
Miss
in
Lake,
and out without being caught?
remember Dawn took the girl there. Dawn took
Yeah,
the
but
garden.
the imperfection was put in there long before that though.
Well, I don't know. I think he was corrupted. Dawn was corrupted first, and then
Interesting.
maybe the museum. They
Yeah.
never explained it. That's my theory.
Yeah, more questions and answers with this
Yeah,
story. And I'm
exactly.
not mad at it though. It's very
Me
interesting.
either, because it's just now the question. Now that I've watched it for fun, like now I watched it with a critical eye, and I have all these questions. So yeah, that's where that's coming from. So anyway, Does he said he's gonna test them, and Dawn looks devastated. Like, really, dude?
It's like, well, what you mean? And also
Right when
in
he
that
thought they
whole
were bonding.
conversation,
It's always right when he thinks they're having a moment that
yeah,
dude will kick him in the
that
nuts.
nonsense comes up, and he does not care one bit about it. And I do find what Dawn was saying there is interesting. Is like, having kids isn't going to make you immortal, right?
Exactly.
Like that, their prospect is literally to replace us.
You.
That is the
Exactly.
function of children. You're
Right.
not achieving any type of immortality, and he's not wrong. But he
Right.
does try to tweak the statement to make it seem like, that's why the brotherhood that we all have is better than that.
Right.
So it does, it does make them look suspect for what happened.
Yeah. So anyway, Damrzel is in there repairing her head, and he goes in to see her, see if she's okay. And then he goes to her, is what we're doing dirty? Or a desecration? And she's like, no, nothing given freely. It's some
It is
bullshit
a
line.
sin or so. Yes, it's
And I'm
something that
like,
sounded
yuck.
bad.
Way to justify incest. Good job, girl.
Yeah. And
Disgusting.
yeah, I agree, Luna. Yeah, this day he got issues.
Yes,
He's
he is more
absolutely
different. Much more different.
narcissistic and paranoid. Absolutely. And you said the
Um,
original Cleon was corrupted too?
yeah,
Hmm. I
yeah, they
think
were
I
all
missed that.
corrupted.
Okay.
That's why he was hitting the glass to break it, because he's like, "What's the point of you if even you
Ah,
can't be untouchable?" Type of thing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, makes sense.
So then Dusk asks, he goes to see Dusk. Well, first, Damrzel tells him that she erased the minds of all the people that saw them half naked,
Yeah,
um, because she didn't want them looking at him funny or something like that. And he goes, "Ah, this is wonderful. This is why I like being right here, because you do all the things."
yeah, yeah, but before I even have to tell you,
I even have to
like,
tell you,
bro.
bro is steps ahead of me.
Oh man, hey Chantal.
They're hilarious, these two. So then
Yeah,
he goes to see Dusk, and Dusk asks, "Why in the hell are you bedding Damrzel?" Bedding, showing his
bro.
whole old man age.
Hmm. Well, how could it be wrong? Maybe because she was your mom just a couple decades ago.
Exactly.
Like, bro, what?
God,
Well,
you.
Cleon the First did it, so why can't I do it? Like, yeah, okay, that just makes you sound even more disgusting, bro.
Yeah, so both him and Dawn are both not like fans of this marriage that's about to happen. And he's like, "Yeah, well, you did." He's like, "You invited all these people up into our space. It could be anybody,
Hmm.
and honestly, you should hire an independent person to come and do an investigation because you need to look out as well as in. Um,
Exactly.
and you need to be smart about this, is basically, which I think was sound advice, you
I think
know.
so too. Yeah.
Um, so, but Dusk is like, "Yo, listen, I'm gonna go along to get along, play my role. However, this is what I see. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell you plain and straight, black and white. Take it or leave it. Up to you. But these are your people that are
Exactly.
coming to visit, and whatever. We gonna see
Yeah.
what the hell all of these people that her party that came before was a lot more than you expected. Well, here we go. Now there's a whole lot more, and they're
Yep.
wearing all the colors, and here we go."
Right. And he was like, bruh, get your house in order, dude.
Yes.
Like he's not challenging his authority, but he's being very upfront and brutally honest, which I think is needed where
Yes.
this day is concerned about you fucking up. Like you know that, right?
And then
You do understand that's what's happening now, right?
they're standing on the balcony. His would-be queen comes off her ship. She was just in
The
her ship.
Empress.
She was looking at the rings on Trantor, and she's like, "Yeah, what is all this? It's all pomp and circumstance. What are these rings for anyway? Like, they're just trying to advertise shit. I don't even like this." And then, she's all salty already. I was like, "Girl, do you want to get married?" I was really confused by her at first until I
See,
find out why. But her name is Sereth the
yeah.
First. And as she enters the room where they're all sitting on the throne room, um,
Mm-hmm.
he says, "Welcome to Trantor." He does his regular speech. "Please respect and enjoy the peace." Right?
Mm-hmm.
And, they thank him for the welcome. Her lady in waiting, I guess, Rue,
Yeah.
um, presents herself, introduces her lady Sereth, and then proceeds to let them know that they've come bearing gifts of different
Mhm.
hues. And Dusk is immediately drawn to this because
Dusk is like, oh shit, wait,
he
hold
does
on.
the
Is that
painting.
a
So
natural storm cloud? Oh
got
shit,
him
wait, oh,
one down,
I haven't
one.
seen that
Yes,
shade of blue in near a millennia. Oh my
that
goodness.
one
Right.
looks
Yeah.
just like a storm. That one looks just
Dusk
like
is
this.
beside himself. He's looking like, oh shit. Okay.
And then
You know
did
what?
you
Look,
notice he
Day.
immediately called out Rudo? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Thank you, Rue. Oh, you caught her name. You committed that to memory, huh, Dust? You did. I
Mm-hmm.
saw that. I peeped it. Saw you. I saw you go right in her line of sight so she could see you too. Okay?
Right, exactly. It was so hilarious because I feel like in his brain, he just turned around and looked at Day like, okay, you remember that shit I was talking just now?
Just
Put
scratch
that on
all
hold.
that. Just scratch
We
it.
gonna shelve that for the moment.
Yes.
I'm gonna
You
go
have
stop
fun.
these paints and go
And
play with
I'm
my
gonna be
toys
over
though.
here with these toys. Exactly.
Like Dusk was not ready. Dusk was not ready for the ambush. And then
And
here,
so
this asshole come with the bullshit counter gift, which
yes.
I don't fault her
little
for anything
ball.
she said.
Like he's like, oh, here you go. This is, oh, Trantor encased in glass.
Hey, Jake.
Ooh,
In
yay.
bronze. He gives her a freaking figurine in
She's
bronze.
like, so is this like a sign of a shrinking empire? Because this is really tiny. Is this all that empire is now? And I was like, well, damn, right for the gonads.
The raid read his ass for filth in 2.3 seconds. Like, how dare you?
Yes, it got real shady.
She brought.
Like,
what we find out is her people, her planet, that's where all of those shades really popped off. Like, they're responsible for getting those true color shades in the world.
Right, exactly.
So, and this is the gift that you bring?
Hey, you give me this little planet. This is
all
you're proud of.
He didn't do his homework.
You're not proud of your entire universe that you rule? Shouldn't it have been all the planets that you have control over? Just saying. Go big or go home.
Which have been lessening and lessening because they keep cutting them off.
Like the narrator said, Empire has contracted. And clearly he's believing that because he's bought into it, if that's how he's presenting his empire. So I thought that was interesting that she called him out. And he was turned on by this challenge.
So much so.
Did you see that? I was kind of like, I need a shower. Yuck.
And it's actually twofold there. And I think it is because he is getting, I think what he actually is seeking in Dermazel. He wants someone that is going to actually correct him and give him new ideas, because he is actually listening to what Harry's saying now. He doesn't want to be stagnant anymore. No, he doesn't want to just keep doing the same thing over and over again. He actually does want change. He's just going about it in a really douchey way.
Yes. So
he can take her criticism, but coming from Dermazel or anyone else, his vanity will take over immediately.
But that dig happens, and it would have been interesting to see how that conversation would have ended, but they get interrupted by Dermazel because something has happened and she needs the three of them to come with her immediately. And they're like, oh, you can speak openly in front of your new queen. And the lady goes, trial, queen. Trial.
You know what? Look, her and her lady in waiting, they are on point with petty the clapbacks. I like them. I love the petty.
Let's keep it 100%. Let's keep it a buck.
Right. Let's be real here. Okay, let me correct you and make this 100% clear.
We are here to test.
And I'm not even all the way here for you, because what it was twofold. He's not the only one that's fallen in love. So is Dawn.
Right. Well, he was in love as soon as he saw her.
Mm-hmm.
You saw the side eye, like criminally.
As soon as the camera panned over, I said, "Oh, that's gonna be a problem."
I knew
that's about to be a problem.
I knew that was a problem. She's closer to his age than she is today.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
Yeah. So they found the body of the captain that they took down on Trantor some 138 years ago.
38 years ago.
Yeah, that captain that Farrah popped in the head after he got them into the Invictus. He'd been floating in space for a whole century and almost a half. That poor man's body. His soul is not at peace.
Take care of your space junk.
Yeah.
Take care of your damn. You can't just be littering on space.
Okay, so they wipe his mind because apparently he had an implant there that records messages and or happenings around him. That is an Empire tech. And they read it. Apparently, but Dermazel has already read it, but she brings to their attention that this was recorded, that there was an insurgence on Terminus. Terminus is still in existence. What they thought had disappeared is still there. That there was no solar flare. They've scouted the area. The planet is very much there and thriving.
Yeah.
And that these insurgents did in fact find the Invictus, and it still exists. And so Day's immediate response is to go after them and wipe them out. And Dusk is like, I wouldn't advise that. And Dermazel agrees. Best we just investigate and see what's going on. Dermazel, she says she's already gotten her feelers out. Now, she has spies everywhere. If that's case, because that is far away. Remember, it took them like
Yeah.
couple
She's
months to
literally
get
the
there.
Varys of this
Years.
story.
They took years to get there on the slow ship, right? So
Mhm.
how she got people in all these area codes, and she just now finding out that Harry Seldon's message still spreading? What's Demerzel been doing? She laying up
Yeah.
under these too much.
I
In
mean,
any event, she tells
trying to
them,
get Brother Day in check. That's what she's been doing.
yeah, this is true. He is a full-time job.
That's
Um,
exactly.
so they say they're gonna investigate how far-reaching this has gone before they do anything. But that sounds dangerous too. Like they sound
Yeah.
dangerous. And I was scared for anybody who's even in cahoots with Harry and the Foundation at this point, because it sounds like they're just gonna do a calculated
It's about to be
just take
another
everybody out.
extreme
Crisis. So
Yep.
that's what they're going to do. So Dust looks at him and goes, "Get your house in order, brother."
Right. Because they really was sitting there looking stuck like, well, I guess we did fall for that trap. We sent people out there. Did they not come back? Well, it looked like there had been an accident that had happened, and we didn't think we needed to like send a replacement
We thought it was
or
a solar
anything.
flare, so we didn't check
Even
for a
though
solar
the guy
flare.
didn't come back.
He didn't even
A
come
whole
back.
crew
They did not check for him.
didn't
A
come
whole
back.
ship didn't come back. A ship that can fold space. Something that you guys says is proprietary to Empire only. Y'all just lost that in space and just didn't care. In fact, the Invictus. How y'all just lost that in space and never try to find it again?
Exactly.
That's y'all's fault. Y'all gave them the tech they needed to develop as a society.
Pretty much.
Thank you. So,
pretty much.
Back on Gale's ship that they got to raise from the waters. They're on top of the water now. Well, they got the ship up on the water because Gale and Salvor, they dive into the water, and when they are deciding that they're gonna go down there to get the ship, I thought it was hysterical how fast they were talking at each other and not even realizing how much like each other they are. Because once they get an idea in their funnel that this is what they're gonna do, it's just bet. Let's go.
Bam. Let's yep. Like A, B, C, D. Wait, don't forget E, F, and J. Okay, yep, let's go.
What
like,
do you mean?
And that's exactly what the
I'm
conversation
gonna need 5 more seconds of air. I'm gonna give you some of my air. I can hold my breath longer. What do you mean you're gonna give me some? Just go with it. I got you. Okay, cool. Go.
Yep.
What? I didn't get that.
I don't even understand.
I would have been dead because I would have still been like, but how?
See, and that's the thing. When it comes to Gale, and you find out like this is where your people are from. She grew up here, literally learning to survive in water. Don't question this woman about how long she can hold her breath, okay? Because Gale's saying that extra 5 minutes you need, I can give you that easily.
Right.
Like 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
I don't know if you guys have ever tried to time yourself holding your breath before, but even getting to 1 minute is challenging.
30 seconds is a challenge. I'm sorry. Okay.
You're not wrong.
Not that girl.
4 minutes though. The only person that I've ever heard of that could get past even 2 minutes, I think 3 minutes is his record. It's I don't remember his name. It's been a long time since I watched the documentary, but it's an old man that lives in a fishing village somewhere around the Amazon tribes, and he can go underwater and stand there fishing with his little spear for like 3 minutes before he needs to come back up for air.
That's why. His skin is literally opened up. His gills. He has gills, Ron. Because
I mean, that's what I think. That's what I heard that slip. Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Okay. Back to Gale and Salvor. So they go down there. They pull it up. And they get on top of the water, but there's a storm coming. They have to get out of there. And at this same time was when Harry was inside of the Radiant talking to that lady about getting out, and she told him he has to break himself out, fix his mind. So as they're coming out, Gale says, "Hey, we gotta let him out. We need him. he's a computer. He's digital. We can put him in the ship and he can fix this issue that we're having. He needs to clear it so we can move the ship because
But
it's not responding like it should.
was it
for us
Salvo
to
the
get
one
out.
that said that?
Salvor. That was Salvor. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Gail says, no, I put him in there for a reason. I don't trust him. Like, you can't trust everything he says. You know, that I don't know if I want to let him out. And she's like, listen, it's been like 138 years since we were awake, and I want to
Shit
know
could be
what's going
going
on in
down
the
bad
universe.
already.
Like, we gotta figure this out. We already know there's about to be a second crisis, and if we don't help things get back on track, you see how many more crises can happen. Because
Exactly.
the plan is deviating from where it should be. So we gotta
And
get
they're
out of
getting
here. We need his
worse.
help. We need his help. So as she's saying this, Harry yells,
Said,
"You
what did
must
you
do
call
it!
her?
You must
His
do it,
tormentor.
Gail! Gail, she's my tormentor. Yes." You gotta do it, Gail. Let me out. It's time you and I have a reckoning.
A
And that's
reckoning. I'm
how
like, what the hell you
episode
mean a reckoning?
so he got words for her. That's what he means. So apparently, timeline-wise, it's been 173 years since they were exiled to Terminus, and 138 years since Salvor has been asleep.
Yeah,
So
since she left. Yep.
So over a century, almost over a century and a half, really, since
Almost century and a half. Yeah.
since we
That
started
is
the
such
show.
a long time. Like I
Yeah.
would love to sleep. Be able to sleep for that long.
But everybody you know will potentially be gone. That would be the sad part for me.
That would it would be sad for some folks. I'll say, yeah, I'm not gonna miss everybody. But for some folks, yes.
I'm telling.
That would be sad.
I'm telling. Telling them what you said.
I will send them an email confirming. I'll put my stamp of approval on it.
He's like, I'm gonna leave a message. I said what I said.
That will literally be at the top of my will.
Deal with it. Me gone already. You can't do me nothing. All right.
Second sentence. All right, Megan.
How you think about it? What did you think after you watched episode 1?
Again, I'm just reeling at the shenanigans. The ridiculousness is oi. And also, actually, there's a line at the end that I'm looking at my notes here. Harry and the last digi person that's in there are talking before he finally figures out how to get out. And he asks, like, what's your purpose here? And she said she has a vested interest in humanity's destiny. Yeah. And Harry's like, well, shouldn't it be survival? Like, I was hoping you'd, have something along those lines. And she just looks at him like, ain't it both?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? Like,
you gotta survive and thrive. You can't just survive.
Yeah, she's like, that's kind of already implied. What do you mean? That's what I just said.
Yeah.
So I liked it.
She whispers something to him too. She's like, when you get out, we can talk more. Meet me at.
Yeah.
And I was like, where are you? Why you really want me to meet you and why? I want to know. Share with the class.
I think I have a theory. I think it's not going to be necessarily answered in episode 2, but I think it does tie in to something else, and I think it may be the same place that where Salvo said she's hearing whispers, like being drawn somewhere. She's hearing things in her mind. So I'm wondering if those two instances are connected.
Yeah. We'll see.
Overall, though, for the season opener, I think it was awesome. Had some action, some great hitty clapbacks. And I was definitely all in for episode 2 once it started.
Yeah. Okay. So episode 2 is called, actually, episode 1 was called In Selden Shadow, just so we're clear on that. I don't think I gave the name, my bad. in
Yeah,
Salvor's ship.
I didn't think about it either.
And then in episode 2, we start back on the ship as Gale is having her reckoning with Harry. And Salvor games him into going into the ship and fixing whatever clearing of whatever.
Say hello.
Clear.
You talking all this nonsense about getting to the other terminus.
You don't know me.
Us.
However, if we can't help fix this timeline that you're talking about until you fix this ship, so we could get out of here. So they do that, and then Salvor has to go outside and clear barnacles and kelp.
Clear the vents and whatnots. Yeah. All types of coral and barnacles are all attached to everything.
She almost kills herself because she has to hold on while Gale fires up the ship and gets above the waves. And Gale gets scared that she's going to lose the one human being in the world now that she just discovered.
But the one human being that's literally
that's
connected
also
to
her child. But the hug. Oh, the hug.
Yeah, right there I think is where it starts.
Yeah. When Salvor comes back in the ship and she's okay and Gale runs up and hugs her, Gale looks like the child, Salvor looks like the mama.
Right! You're right, because Salvor is literally like a head taller than her.
I thought that was adorable. Such an endearing moment.
And I find that so fitting because I'm taller than my mom too.
Yeah.
And you're taller than Auntie Raynette, so it kind of just cracked me up a little bit.
Not our fault. They got with taller men.
Yeah. They chose to procreate with tall giants.
Thanks. Appreciate it. All right, so episode 2, A Glimpse into Darkness. Harry's yelling at Gale that she didn't think about him and that he could have gone mad and that he was awake the entire time, which I think is completely
she didn't know.
Yeah,
I don't think she knew that though. But yeah,
she didn't. She said sorry.
Deal with all that.
She immediately apologized. Yeah. She's like, "I'm so sorry. It's just you didn't tell me everything." And Raish like, "Well, Raish knew everything. He shouldn't have put you in the pod." So anyway,
maybe you should have tried to. You shouldn't have tried to make him go by himself.
Right. Well, Salvor asked a real good question. She goes, "Why did you put him in the thing?" And she goes, "Why did you stop him from starting the second foundation?" And she said, "I don't know. I had just lost your father. I was grieving. There was a lot of unknown questions, and I didn't want to go there. I just wanted to go back to home base." And that's what she did. So, Gale looks into she then decides that, she shows Harry. Actually, Harry goes, "Well, show me the prime radiant. Show me where the timeline is deviating. Show me what's going on now." So she opens it up. She shows him how that deviation is happening. The second or third crisis is about to happen now on Trantor and on Terminus, sorry. And that will continue deviating if they don't
and
get
it's going to be bigger all around the line. Like the first one was it wasn't solved or stopped necessarily, but it was passed because of Salvo's efforts. But the next one that's coming up that's supposed to be bigger, which is what's brewing now, it is going to look ugly and set into
apparently
reaction of
foundation
terribleness.
Was supposed to be started to assist with keeping the plan on track.
That's
what the second foundation was. So she was like, "Well, we have to warn them." Gale's immediate action is to save Terminus, right? And the people on Terminus. And Harry goes, "Everybody you knew there was dead." And she goes, "Nice." Almost like, dude, I was rooting for you, but now you on your own.
Right. Like someone was like, you know what?
You and Gale.
Did nobody even ask you all that, bro?
Start being left in a box to go crazy, old man.
Like exactly. This is why you got put in the box, Harry. This shit right here.
So Gale was like, she's like, well, he's like asking Salvor if she has the same ability as Gale, and she says no. He says no. She's like, well, I've seen that, and it feels different. It feels worse. It feels like death, like emptiness. And he's like, well, we need to know more about where it deviates. Is there a way for you to look into the future? And she's like, maybe in reverse. And she immediately gets this idea in her funnel and she goes for it again. She's gonna drown herself. She grabs an oxygen mask, hands it to Salvor, sits in the middle of the thing, and proceeds to tell the ship to take all the oxygen out of the room so she could feel like she's dying, so she can go into a state of panic and see the future.
And that's how she kickstarts her powers. Girl. It's very reminiscent of the mini Goonies adventure that 11 and the kids had to go through in Stranger Things for them to spy on everybody else and to try to get ahead of what's coming. She had to put herself in that, random dreamscape to get in and try to save everybody. It's so crazy. The mental gymnastics that her and Savo can do in just the blink of an eye. It's crazy. Hey, Natural.
That's wild. Yeah.
I appreciate seeing it though. It honestly is fascinating to watch them both work.
It's a lot of gangster happening. They're strong. They're stronger than me.
Agreed. Yeah. Half the nonsense that they over here doing. No. I don't know that I would have patience for.
I don't want it. Just make me a machine. Thank you. Because no. So she looks into the future to see this turning point, and she encounters, she's in a war. The place is all messed up and singed. There's fires happening. Somebody's shooting at her. And they're calling for her. They call her name. They call her by name. So she is clearly in this future as herself, because she don't look different. She looks exactly the same.
See,
so somehow
she
sleeps to that. Well, they didn't show us anything else.
She doesn't look different to us.
Well, no, she doesn't look different to us, but her hair is shorter and out, and she doesn't normally wear it out, and it's long now.
Yeah.
So in any event, he picks her up, this person, he finds her, and he is apparently the source of the coming darkness. He starts choking her. She wakes up. They wake her up because Gail acts as her lighthouse and calls her back so that she could wake up.
You skipped an important part though.
When he picked her up and he says to her, "What is this? Who are you?" And he says, he says the word mentalic.
He looks close.
Is that a younger you speaking through from the past?
When I heard that, I was like, wait a minute, motherfucker. Who?
Where is your second foundation? So he's clearly a seer as well. He can see.
And why can't he do that?
Why can he do that is the question. So
that's
and he goes, he says a couple of things actually. Where are your mentalic scale and the second foundation? Hober Mallow, are you from the time of Hober Mallow and the time of the Empire? And she gets called back, and she wakes up with the choking still happening,
with the bruises. Okay, what type of freaking mutant X gene does this dude have?
I'm gonna go into the Freddy Krueger dream. I don't want to come back with scars. Thank you.
Yeah, no gracias.
No gracias. So she reveals that she saw the Mule. His name is the Mule. He called himself a mentalic, and he was trying to pull information from her. And Harry tells her, search for that information. Where is the second foundation? And she was like, it's called Ignis.
It's something with
Ignis. The planet is called Ignis. So they decided they're gonna go to Ignis, start their second foundation apparently. So that's the direction they were given. So Gail reveals later that to Salvor, because she's not sleeping, Salvor notices she's not in her bed. She goes to find her, and she's crying, and she's like, I don't know if this is a good idea, because there's something I didn't tell you. When I got shot by the mule, I fell. I looked back, and next to me, there was your body, and you were dead.
You were dead.
I don't know if I want to proceed with this. So that was what happened with Gail and Salvor and Harry for now.
Yeah, that's the end of them for this episode.
Yep. we go to, in the midst of some of these happenings, we were, we go back and forth. So we are on a planet called Soana, and we meet
So,
two new we meet
so
what
yeah,
we
so
think are two new characters. Becky, who is a Bishop's Claw, and brother Constant, who is actually a girl, but she's a brother because she's a cleric or training to be one. And Cleric,
I have
the cleric,
questions.
who is also Polly. Polly is a cleric. So
What type of mutant X gene does he have? Because why are you still alive, Polly? Explain yourself.
And 138 years later. Yeah.
How is everybody else dead but you?
Yeah. That is a good question. I mean, he was a little boy, but 138 years later? Huh. Interesting. So anyway, unless we're out of time again, right? But we aren't because they say that on Terminus. They say it's been 138 years since the vault opened.
You're right.
And the only living person is Cleric, High Cleric, Polly. We got to call him back. So they get called back. But before they get called back, on this planet Soana, they are trying to recruit people underneath the Harry Seldon religion.
Yes, it's a religion now.
So he tells brother to keep her aura charged, and I was like, when they get auras? I thought auras were reserved for Empire only. What in the what? So clearly some things have changed. So
Polly has been going on some Goonie adventures, I think.
No, I think when they got the Invictus, remember they were going to use the Invictus tech to teach them how to build their own ships so they could be ready for the second crisis. So they made those. I think they made weapons. I don't know if the technology for it might have been. They also had a Empire ship that was crash landed on their planet too. Remember? They did parts from that and used it for stuff. They could have done a lot.
Yeah, like reverse engineered some things. Yeah, that's interesting. So that's very interesting.
I thought that was cool. Like now they have tech, and with this tech, they put on a little light show for the people on this planet that they're trying to convince to come over to their side. And they, present. He comes down. Cleric comes. They make it nighttime. Cleric comes down as a spirit to come and preach to them. Absurd. And tells it's very absurd. Like what?
Yeah, and way over the top.
What we're doing way over the top. But it's like so bad. Like it's sad because now you're saying that these people are so stupid that they're just gonna buy into this. But there were a couple of people that were just standing there looking at this, like this is all smoke and mirrors. Like you're just trying to get the weak-minded to follow you, which I think is
what does he do?
A way of doing things because then you're just Empire Part 2, in my opinion.
Exactly.
You're fooling,
and that's kind of what they've developed to be. It's kind of sad.
Yeah. So then, in the middle of the show, her ring goes off, like it's an alert, a message, and she tells him, and then they go back up to their ship, and they read the message, and they see that the vault has opened again on Terminus, and they're being called home. So all the clerics that were out there recruiting planets to Harry's cause are now being called home because the vault has opened. So they're clearly time.
And they're on a ship. Yeah, they're on a ship that can fold space now.
That can fold space.
And they have sleep
patches. I'm like, they have sleep patches, they have auras, and they have ships that can fold space. They are Empire now. So I was like,
and that's why a lot of people, I think, on that planet, they were like, "Can y'all just go to hell on somewhere, please? And thank you. We really don't want or care about y'all at all."
Right. So they return to Terminus to witness the vault, and there's some trouble because then Mr. Polly is a drunkard. First of all, let's talk about Polly. Polly likes to drink and the smoke apparent and some kind of powder. He's sniffing up his nose.
Yeah,
And when
Polly
to
just has
get
a lot
him
of things
right,
going on.
brother apparently injects him in the bottom of his foot with something that makes him throw up all of that, get it out of his system so he can do right. And I was like, wow,
And he does it almost immediately. He starts spewing chunks.
like, does that exist in nature today? Because
I feel like it's the injection form of what was the name of that thing? Ipecac.
Oh,
If that's the thing, basically you take like a teaspoon or 2 teaspoons of it, and it makes you vomit.
oh, wow. Okay, so that does exist.
I mean, no, look, see, he can party as much as he wants to,
Let's
but
hope-
you still have a job to do, young man.
and it's dangerous. You kind of have to be on your P's and Q's.
You need to be coherent for this job.
You're leaving this girl out here by herself, basically, just on her aura alone, which they almost broke through when they were trying to get her.
And they almost broke because they really were not having it. They had her surrounded, and if that pager would not have gone off, and they would have beamed themselves up back to the mothership, yeah, she probably would have been in a lot of trouble. Because Polly don't look like he could fight. So
no, he does not.
It would not work.
Not in his state right now. He's old. But in any event,
you know what, Chantel? I think I could say Polly reminds me of one of our uncles as well.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. In that discussion,
I feel like him and Uncle Lionel will be friends.
In that discussion about converting worlds, it sounds like they've converted 7 different planets so far to the school of Harry Seldon. So that's interesting. But anyway, they get called to this room where all the clerics and the governing body,
the warden and the mayor,
and the mayor is apparently Brother Constance's father. Who apparently didn't want her to choose the cloak, but that's what she wanted because that's what she believes in, and she is a devout cleric.
She is, yeah.
So he tells Polly that he can do crowd control, and the warden, is gonna go up to the vault now that the Northfield
and meet with him privately.
He's gonna go meet with Harry Seldon privately and have that conversation, so that conversation isn't tainted and questioned by anyone later, because he is so trustworthy.
Tainted in what ways?
I have no idea what he was referring to.
What you mean by that?
Like, that self-righteousness is what got him. What it got him. The homeboy boldly goes where no man has gone before, and praises. He does say. He's proud to have the job that the famous Salvor Hardin once had the last time the vault was open. I was like, prop to Salvor. Big up to Salvor. That's right. You better say her name.
I mean, right? Yeah. I mean, they put some respect on her name, and she deserved that. Absolutely. Yeah. However, I do agree with everything Paulie was saying in his argument. Like, bro, if somebody's gonna have to go be the ambassador, you kind of might want it to be someone that Harry is going to recognize. It makes sense.
Who are you? Like, okay, but you want me to do crowd control? And he's like, you're drinking. I see your eyes, and you've been sniffing some kind of powder. Like, totally, like, called him out, and he had no leg to stand on, and that was that.
Sadly, yeah, but he did also read them a little bit for filth and call them out on their bullshit, because again, this is all vanity. It's the only reason that the warden thinks that he should be the one to go in there alone. And Paulie ran down the whole list of the nonsense that's been happening, and it's like, how exactly are y'all different than Empire now?
Right.
Explain this.
I know. It's sad but true. So then he walks up there boldly, and he turns around. Can I come in? I would love to come in and talk to you. I would love to take a few steps next to you, and a few more would be great too. You know, he's trying to humble himself, but then he turns around to get cheers from the crowd, and he's like, I'm going in. Let me hear you. And everybody says, yay. And as he's praising them, telling them he's going in. He gets lifted up into the sky, and he can't even move his arms. And then he starts singing, Hober Mallow, Hober Mallow, get Hober Mallow. And he gets.
And then Thanos snaps his finger and he
like,
goes to dust.
I did not understand the why, but okay, Harry. That's what we're
yeah, I did.
People now.
I need the explanation on that one.
I don't understand.
I don't understand.
I get he wasn't worthy, but there are other ways. Like, you could Northfield him and knock him out. Like, I'm just saying.
You could have just came out there and said, "I don't want to talk to you. Where my boy
Not
Polly
you.
at?"
Where's Polly? Exactly.
Right. He anything but that could have happened.
Came out there. Not you. Not you. What was it? Was that the Nutty Professor? No, it wasn't Nutty Professor. It was Coming to America.
Oh,
F you. Who's
fuck
next?
you, fuck you, and fuck you. Who's next? Dude, that is one of my favorite scenes.
Who's next?
That movie will never not be funny to me.
You came out there and did that.
Hey, what is going on? I appreciate you tuning in, bro. Thank you.
Oh, very cool.
Absolutely. Y'all smash that like, please.
So that was that for what had happened on Terminus, sorry. And
damn, wait, so we're never even going to get an explanation for that? Dang.
No.
Harry and his secrets. Even his CGI forms are still keeping secrets.
Yeah, we still don't know. We don't know what that man did to deserve such a fate.
I mean, outside of being a little bit
arrogant.
He
seemed like he was a pretty good warden. Other than vanity.
Yeah, everybody respected him.
He seemed like he was okay. Didn't seem like he was abusing nobody. I don't know.
Yeah.
And that was messed up. But in any event, back on Trantor, Demerzel checked with Dawn and Dusk. And she says they're not a plot to kill. They're not part of the plot. She tells him that Bel Rios is a soldier that she's going to get from prison to help investigate this, like as an independent. And he goes off because he doesn't like Bel Rios. Apparently, one time at band camp, Bel Rios was given an order by him, and he
disobeyed the order.
And
you know why though?
Demerzel is standing there in full.
Like...
She always looks like she's a pledgee, and she's waiting to be given her orders because her hands are always
right. She's waiting, just waiting, and letting him ramble on. And when he finally
and she's timing him, she's like, "How long did you think my tantrum was gonna last?" And she goes, "Under 2 minutes." 2 minutes usually, but you came in well under that. Kudos to you today.
Right.
And she's like, so I should talk to Bel then? Should I talk to Rios? He goes, yes. Don't take no for an answer. If he says no, kill him.
For just 1 second, you couldn't let it go.
Because she already
the man disobeyed your order.
I
because the
feel
order
like
was bullshit.
She says things to them that she already knows what they're gonna say. But then she knows what she's gonna do anyway, and she knows they're gonna end up agreeing with her. It's weird, but
she knows she has to go through that. yeah. She knows she has to go through that because otherwise they're not gonna listen.
Right. So then they're having dinner with this Dominion consortium.
That's what she's called. Like their empire, and she is Dominion.
Dominion, yes. Her and all her people are in the room, and the three of them are trying to do things exactly the same because they want to put a show in that they are the same person.
That they are actually the same
person, and she is just the wife now of Day coming in, and she makes jokes, and Day is amused, and to the point where she finally gets him out of the room to take her to see the Principium. And she does. She more than plays to their ego. She challenges him.
Yeah.
She's trying to figure out who needs what, and then she gives it to them. She's a chameleon, and a woman like that is scary because she's going to adjust to whatever situation needs
and she
her
does
to
it so
adjust to.
flawlessly. She's
And
doing
I
it
was like,
in front of their eyes, and none of them are noticing.
it's a freaking case study. I just want to watch.
You would think Dusk. You would think Dusk would be on his game, on point here, because this is literally his job. This is what he's supposed to do.
He's so distracted by Rue, he don't know what's happening.
He does not know anything, and he's still waiting to go play with his new paint colors.
Exactly,
and do something with that.
There's new paint.
Every little jab that she pushes in, they end up finding a reason to laugh off. Like, and they don't even notice that they're just rationalizing the reads that she's given them. Yeah. And I just find that fascinating and hilarious at the same time.
Ice skating. Oh, going ice skating. Let's leave that to the young when people with better knees. And she goes, why not? Can't you just decant one of y'all and use their knees? I'm just saying. Shots fired. Like, she just keeps going with it.
I like her.
Damn.
I find absolutely no fault in her pettiness. I like it, and I hope to see all of it.
Yep. And then Day is so intrigued by her, and he can't see past any of it. So
intrigued.
Like, oh yes, takes her to the Principium. She gets to understand how it works. He tells her, this is me. All of the information is currently being downloaded to him right now. Mm-hmm. We do erase his mind to take out things like, I was almost killed. So she's like, oh, you do that, huh? Interesting, and he gives pause to that too. Like, what else are they erasing? Mm-hmm. You see him literally, he stopped in the moment, and the camera's like right here, and I'm like, you thought about that, didn't you? Mm-hmm.
And this again, and she consistently holds him to task, especially when it comes to their upcoming marriage, if she still decides to go along with it, because she is very clear on that. Almost.
But these are good questions.
Almost.
Even if you didn't get the sense that she's salty about whatever happened to her people, because her people died apparently.
Yeah.
And so that's how she became the leader. Because
her
in front of
brother and her older brother and sister.
Her brother. Her sister, yes, her older sister was first, and then her brother. Her sister was the woman that was about to be queen. After her parents retired, and all of them died. So she is salty because she had her freedom. She was free to do whatever, like be involved in art,
and that shaped her.
Raised to be queen and so proper, and she's like, excuse my directness, but this is why, and the fact that she's asking real and true questions, like, okay, so this is how it is today. You do realize that if we have a child and something happens to you, that child will be left without any of these memories that are currently being downloaded to your clone right now. Like, isn't that something you're concerned about? Like, what happens to my child?
Right. How are you going to counter that?
Correct.
And if something does happen to you, how is succession going to go with your two brothers still here? Because effectively right now, they're kind of being written out of the
who's to
ruling
stop
line.
Them from challenging? If they don't take your course of action and then something happens to you. Yeah, those are good questions. I was that mad at it. I was like, yep, this is how you do it.
I mean, she was asking them with all of the petty, but I didn't mind that. Because those are all valid questions. And I just like when somebody can throw Day off his game like that.
Same. But he wasn't feeling like he was off his game. Did you see his face? He was having a good time.
He was so proud of every answer that he gave.
And so, you want to have intercourse? And he was like, yes, because it adds a layer of intimacy. And he checks out her backside. I was like, you nasty.
but we already knew he was going to be doing that, because this is literally the exact same thing he was doing in the beginning when he was smashing Dermot up.
Blowing her back out. Yep. I was like,
Day is on some other shit this season, bro.
He is different. He's different.
It's like super different.
She definitely joked her way into his good book.
I mean, all of them. She
Yeah.
played all of them like a fiddle. She brought the best gift to influence the highest advisor. Like the only other one that has Day's ear more than Dusk is Dermazel. And
she's very curious about Dermazel, though. Did you notice? She's like, she's very curious about Dermazel. She goes,
yeah.
Why can't you come eat with us? And she's like, oh, I'm happy where I'm standing.
I'm happy where I'm standing, yeah.
She asked Day directly, is she a robot? Or does she have her own arrangements? Why isn't she here?
Yep.
Because that would explain why she stays the same.
Exactly. She still looks the same age. Yeah, Reggie, wait till you watch this, bruh. It's the shenanigans that Day pulls, man. Look.
Yeah, she's like, listen. She has. What did he say? He said, yes, she has her own arrangements. But then he knitted his brow, that was it. I don't know what those arrangements are, type of thing,
So she looks at him a little bit, but she lets it go.
Yep. So she's gonna find out on her own.
From that.
She's like, I'm gonna. And this is why
I think that he was even stupid trying to impress her like that, because bruh, she played you. You do realize that she only said what she said specifically to get you to bring her down here. Like you were watching that, right? You didn't catch it? Yeah. They are, all three of them, basically fumbling over themselves. Yeah. Because I think all of them are impressed with how real she is. And that, again, is why I want to know a bit more about her family and her past, because what she said is, my two older siblings, they were trained to rule. I was like, you get an heir and a spare. So you train them both. She was like the extra. So she got to go pursue all the arts, all the random book learnings, and peruse around whatever library she wanted, learn from whatever scholar she wanted. And that made her a very, very well-rounded person. She still got some of the royal children training. Because obviously she's on her P's and Q's. But she has that perfect blend to where she could absolutely go to Terminus and talk to any random person there and still fit in perfectly. Yep. And I really love her dynamic going up against all three of them.
That whole dinner, she's like, "Oh, I've heard lots of stories about y'all that your servants feed you by spoon.
Feed you all of them."
I was like, "Oh yeah, such and such. Come, do pick up this pheasant.
Bring me that quail and shove it down my throat." Like, bro, of all the phrasings you could use, sir.
Who feeds you that way? Why did they do it like that?
Like, Dusk, why are you like this? Why? So Natural says, it's funny that no one has asked if she is a robot. It reminds me of Cromartie High. I don't know the Cromartie High reference. Let us know what that is, por favor. But yeah, I mean, she did ask Day, but didn't at the same time. She just kind of implied it, and that's why he gave that one-shot answer, like, oh, she has her own arrangements.
They don't typically answer questions about each other, though. Day, Dust, Dawn, and Demerzel, they do not answer questions to anybody outside of their four.
Yeah, outside of
at all. If you notice, they don't have discussions about each other with anyone else outside that fourth circle. So I'm not surprised that nobody gets an answer to that question. Implied to mind your damn business. Just by the cold stare.
Which just makes her answers. I feel like he should have just made up something slick on the spot, because now she's even more curious and she's side-eyeing you even harder.
Yep.
And I think she's gonna find the information that she's looking for. She's very cunning.
She's definitely cunning, and she seems to have an agenda for each one of them. So it's going to be interesting to watch how she operates the rest of this season. And if she ends up, you know, she's going to marry him, but who knows what this is.
Right, yeah. Who knows how exactly that's really going to affect the dynamic.
Yeah.
See, here's a question.
Because it's not like she's being asked to marry him. She's being told to marry him. Come on.
She's being told to. Right. Yeah.
What it is,
this is basically an arranged marriage for politics.
And he's think he's also letting her feel like she has some kind of agency. because it's funny for him right now. It's for her to feel like she has some kind of power.
It's still a game. Yep.
Yeah.
It's still a game. Now I'm wondering, excuse me, do they continue the cloning thing once that marriage happens and they consummate the marriage?
I think
because the goal is an heir.
No,
So,
that's it. No more. He said it to her when they were in the Principium. She goes, "What happened?"
Okay.
And he says they're going to drain the tanks and they are going to disintegrate the bodies for energy. Yeah, that's what he said. So the clones, the backup clones, and the babies will all be dusted.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts to think about. I really want to see if they follow through with that.
Yeah, right.
And yeah, Luna, you are correct. Yeah, she is still an outsider and she's motivated, right? And while he's over here playing a game that he thinks he's winning, she's in the Star Trek verse playing 4D chess, walking all over his ass. And I don't know if y'all have seen the 4D chess set from Star Trek. Google it. Google it. It's extra.
For no reason.
Seriously. For absolutely no reason.
Complicated enough.
Right. Regular chess is complicated enough. The way you have to move playing 4D chess.
Yeah. I thought the boys had to play chess. And it took a while. So yeah.
Seriously.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man. Yeah. But yeah, I think those are all the highlights.
Yes. So we shall see who Hoper Mallow is in the next episode, and find out what's going on with Harry. That version of Harry and the vaults on Terminus, and then we'll figure out what.
I'm looking forward to all of that.
Yeah, it's a good season. It's a good season. I thought to rewatch 3 and 4, but I remember that we do find Hoper Mallow in 3.
Okay, good, because I'm very curious about him. I don't think they're going to destroy the current dust.
No, they're not going to destroy the current versions of them. They will just live out their lives, is my understanding. But after heir is born or in process, I guess. Yeah.
You said no one says
she's a robot.
Talking about Dermazel?
Yeah, it would be rude, and they might lose their head as well.
There is that.
I mean, they kill people on GP all the time. He killed that one scientist who couldn't give him a straight answer just by yelling at him. Man had a heart attack and was like, "And I'm out."
And also when he was questioning that line of people in the very beginning, had his hand up at the ready, and he didn't hear what he wanted to hear. So
yes, the Shadow Master who was like, they got in. We don't know how they got in. There was a lot of I don't knows. There was one too many I don't know. And he got impatient and was like, "And now you're dead."
Yeah, he was not for it at all.
He's like, "I need answers. Take all these people and look at their memories."
And then send
how they got in the servants' quarters
down there too.
Why didn't he send Damazel? They need to look at her too. Just saying. Yeah. She's the only one that didn't look at.
She's the only one, yeah. That is correct. That's very interesting. Yeah, I am looking forward to the rest of this season. Yeah. So, what would you rate these two?
This episode was juicy. I liked it. It's a good 9 for me. This one, it's a good 9.
I agree. I think I would go with this one.
Last episode was a solid 10 because they started out chock full of action. We had Salvor and Gale trying to get themselves to safety, Harry trying to figure out where the heck he was and get himself out, and we had that was it, right?
I think those were the big things.
Those were big.
Yeah, and then Day in the assassination plot.
Assassination plot. Yeah.
So, they hit the ground running.
They hit the ground running for real. So that was a good 9.5. I would give number 1, and number 2, I'll give it a 9. Just old girl and the jokes.
Yeah, I think for episode 1, I will go with strong 8.75 out of 10,
Okay.
just because I already know where I think it's going to get higher as the season goes out, and by that same token, for episode 2, I will go a 9.5 for that, because the reads were on point. I love a good petty bitch, and she is giving all of that energy, and I am here for it. Right, 9.5, lots of info and attitude. Yep. Like her and Dermazel make up they're my read champions right now in this universe. So yeah, I am thoroughly looking forward to what's to come next. We will be back here next Thursday, folks, for episode 3 and 4, and shortly on DJ Wun Wun's channel, I'll be on with him in Fandom. We're going to talk about episode 1 and 2 of Gen B, the Boys spinoff on Amazon Prime. So join us for that in a little bit. Huh?
That's a Boys spinoff?
Yeah. You haven't seen the previews?
I have not.
Yeah, Gen B, look it up. Look it up. The first 3 episodes have already dropped. I haven't watched 3 yet. But yeah, 1 and 2 are great. They've got some really good characters coming in. It's basically about the superpowered kids.
Okay.
In their college years.
My eyes stay open beyond the next hour these days. I need 6 after 9 o'clock. So
that I understand.
It's the travel. I haven't adjusted back yet, so soon.
Yeah. Time differences be extra. And if you missed the Loki discussion, because season 2 of that just started, also head over to DJ's channel. You'll see that. I believe the next couple of Tuesdays that we have coming up, I'll also be on with the ladies from Thousand Eyes and One. We're going to talk about some Freddy Krueger movies. And what else is coming up? Beetlejuice.
And I made my list for our top 10 vampires. So let me know when you want to do that.
Yes. We have a bunch of cool countdowns for the spooky season coming up. And an awesome project that my writing group that I'm in has decided to help me with. So I think it's going to be pretty fun. So come back, set all your notifications, folks, and we will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.
Bye.